Its size, its architecture, its location, all combine to make it the commercial keystone of downtown Lancaster and a reflection of an America poised to remake the world. The creation of the Columbian building is tied to the ambitions of the two men who commissioned its construction, and in part to the influence of the Chicago World's Columbian Exposition. In 1893, the world came to America to catch a glimpse of the amazing possibilities of their time. Electric illumination, power generation, mechanical advances in agriculture, and large-scale manufacturing. The exhibition marked the 400th anniversary of the discovery of America by Christopher Columbus, but in a larger sense, it also represented the nation's emergence from the Victorian era, with an evident display of confidence as it approached the 20th century. That same confidence was felt some 500 miles away in Lancaster by two businessmen.
There were two builders of the Columbian, William Schleicher and Philemon Wolfgang Benninger. Philemon was a great uncle. His younger brother, John, was my great grandfather. P.W. Benninger was a jeweler and optician.
John Schleicher Thompson is the great-grandnephew of William Schleicher.
He made his fortune off when they struck oil in the Bremen area. He went down and bought the mineral rights off of the farmers. And then he sold the mineral rights to oil drillers. And he made a fortune off of that.
America is teeming with innovation. Just 85 miles away, Dayton's Orville and Wilbur Wright had just opened their bicycle sales and repair shop. And Ohio-born Thomas Edison is perfecting his motion picture camera and projector. Benninger and Schleicher were children of German immigrants. Both were prominent businessmen with money to invest in a growing Lancaster. Their partnership would combine lots on busy Main Street to form one grand structure and 4 retail doorways, Schleicher on the east, Benninger on the west, with an 18-inch brick party wall separating tenants. When it came to the design of the Columbian, architect Herbert Spielman's admiration for the style popularized by one of America's most celebrated architects shone through in great detail.
Henry Hobson Richardson lived in the middle 1800s. He studied abroad in Paris, France, in the 1860s. His style incorporated large, rough, coarse stone, monumental exteriors, punctuated by arched window and door openings throughout his buildings. He often had round, cylindrical shaped, extended corner towers with conical shaped roofs.
Other examples of Richardson Romanesque architecture include Lancaster's own City Hall and the iconic Orton Hall on the Ohio State University campus. The Columbian was special. The Daily Eagle would follow the progress of construction with great interest. Upon its 1894 opening, the Columbian had already become a sought-after address for retail, professional office, and nonprofit organizations alike. Merchants of all types set up shop in the magnificent building. German immigrant and tailor Peter Miller was one of the building's very first ground floor tenants. Attorney Jim Miller is the merchant's great-grandson.
They were making their suits. They had employees, and at one time They said that Peter Miller had 75 employees. The tailor-made suits and overcoats that were made here were sold all through the South by their salesmen from here who traveled.
The family's tailoring business continued into the 1920s.
Finally, the thing that put my grandfather out of business, Peter Miller was gone by then, was Hart Chapter Marks came out in the late 20s, in the Depression, with a $25 machine-made suit, which was a good suit of clothes. And of course, Peter Miller's sons, which was my grandfather, and they had these $200 suits and overcoats in the racks, and they couldn't sell them. So that was the end of the business.
The fine retail tradition of the business continued under Jim Miller's uncle, Bill Hammond, and later, Hammond's daughter, Marlena. Popular businessman Andy Bauman, who just a few years earlier had been enlisted in the effort to beautify the downtown with the installation of a magnificent public fountain, opened his highly publicized Bauman's Fair establishment. In 1900, George M. Hickel opened his dry goods store in the Columbian and began a relationship with the community which would last most of the 20th century. The grand building's third floor also hosted various community socials in a ballroom-type setting from the 1890s to the 1940s. These World War II-era murals survived for 70 years. Little by little, tenants went out of business or moved to other locations, and the building fell into disrepair. Over the years, more than one fire took its toll on the landmark. Meanwhile, during the past 20 years, the Fairfield County Municipal Court docket had been swelling, with 2 courtrooms on the second floor of Lancaster City Hall and cramped conditions that led to hallways overflowing with families with children alongside handcuffed defendants. The security risk had become untenable. Given a situation that was unsafe and inefficient, Judges David Trimmer and Patrick Harris embarked on a unique long-range plan. By charging a small user fee on cases coming before them, the court was able to raise $1.7 million in nearly 6 years. After considering their options, it was decided that renovation of an existing structure over building new would result in greater, far-reaching community benefit. Some of the court's special funds were used to purchase the Columbian and to pay off bonds necessary to begin and complete the historic downtown project. The visionary funding model was key to at once better serve the public and to rescue some of the community's historic architecture. The work of removing decades of debris resulting from neglect was the first step in the journey of restoration. Uncovering walls, exposing floors and ceilings, and preparing the building to serve the public once again. The original 19th century rippled window glass was replaced by highly efficient yet historically faithful window sets. And the iconic conical tower roof was dramatically reinstalled after an absence of nearly 60 years.
You can't build a building like that anymore. One of the great things about renovating an old building is that it has certain features that truly can't be replicated, that can't endure in time. And that's what makes this building so special, so unique, and so wonderful.
The rebirth of the Columbian brings a renewed sense of place to a community which continues to recognize its uniquely personal relationship with American history. This meaningful reinvestment in the past is an enduring investment in Lancaster's future and serves as a thoughtful example of the power of preservation.